Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So what is actually happening with the nation? I feel genuinely we're actually crumbling. And I'm not talking about all of the political nonsense, none of this stuff. I'm just talking about the general things that I keep happening. It feels like we're kind of getting attacked left, right and centre. You'll probably be aware, obviously there was another power outage at the London Underground and there was a few stations went down. And all that is only happened for a space of like a minute or two. It got rectified, but because apparently the system was old, that it took a little while to restart the system and get things going. So basically, it still created a chaos and absolutely huge delays. Again, when you see some reports in the media, they're showing obviously the queues of people, literally bunches of people stuck on the station. This is not what the video today is all about. Something I want you to cover that's kind of becomes a little bit more apparent, and I see few people as well starting to get their heads out of the sand and sort of understand that that's what's currently happening. It looks a little bit more like a pattern and deliberate things rather than a coincidental. And I know we all kind of speculate. A lot of people still do have their heads in the sand, and they do seem to think that all these things that are currently happening is just natural events caused by general things. It may be so in certain extents, I totally understand, but do hear me to the end, because there are a lot of things that are actually hidden from ourselves. When I've done the video, guys, before about the cyber attacks, we're talking about the Marks and Spencer's Corp Harrods. A few of you actually commented that the chances are there are far more cyber attacks that happen that we're made to be aware of. And yes, guys, it's totally correct. There are loads more things that are happening out there in terms of cyber attacks that doesn't really get published in the main media. And then, of course, as a prepper, I will question why the reason would you not tell us what's currently happening? Because generally, even for the companies to be fully aware that other companies get hacked, it kind of emphasizes the need to kind of bump up your cybersecurity. So one of the things, firstly, before I proceed to the other bit, I wanted to again point out another thing. When we talked about the water preparedness, right, and I tell you guys you need to stock up because, well, we're still in Wales, I haven't had rain now for about 9 weeks. I know in some parts of the UK also had the same issue. We literally haven't had no rain. And there are articles floating about still about the drought, that kind of thing. That's fine. Some of you had rain, majority of us didn't. That's not the point. Again, also in the South Yorkshire, I believe there is currently the strictly boiling water order, which means that they found another contaminant in the water supply. This is pretty much happens on a very, very regular basis. Funnily enough, it generally seemed to happen around the summertime, strangely. Nonetheless, the point is, of course, the panic began and people just cleared off the shelves of water. This is how it goes all the time. And this is why, again, the emphasis was another example to get your water preparedness sorted. So anyway, we're coming back to all the events. And let's talk about what's been happening. So I'm just taking, for example, the past 6 months. Okay, you're fully aware of the Marks and Spencer's Corp and Harrods, the cyber attack that's been, happened but the 20th of April, okay, or something thereabouts. Anyway, this was Marks and Spencer's, and it still continues. And it's still now going to the stage that apparently there's articles floating about saying that Marks and Spencer's might not actually make it through because they're losing approximately 4 million per day because their systems are not operating correctly and people can't shop, that kind of thing. So it does obviously look like potentially it's going to have a huge, huge effect. Again, this is kind of cyber attacks that we've been told. But also, did you know that apparently there was a massive cyber attack on MOD only a few months ago? And yet that's not seemed to be in the public domain at all. Apparently, they hacked in and stole like 600 passwords from the people that work for the Ministry of Defense. And when they logged on, they stole over 250,000 of people's details. We're talking about the ex-soldiers and the current soldiers that are serving in the Navy and everywhere else. So we're talking about over 250,000. And we're talking about the names, the addresses, and the phone numbers. Again, this has been kept quiet for myself, but why? Could you imagine, again, if those kind of details get into the wrong hands, could you imagine what possibly could happen? So yet again, questionable why we're not getting told about it. At the same time as well, recently, so as I said, apart from the Harrods Corp and Marks and Spencer's, there were also attacks on the Welsh water. Okay, there's not a lot of details floating about, but apparently yes. There is a bunch of undisclosed attacks on our clean water supply in the United Kingdom. And there's apparently also an attack on one of the Welsh educational facilities. This is all in a space of less than a month. And again, not a lot of it floating about to make you aware of those kind of situations. And then also we're coming back to, say, the fires. Obviously, we're all aware of the Heathrow fire, which has happened, I believe, 20th of March. Okay, it's, a little bit over the month ago, but nonetheless, 20th of March. Then apparently we recently had the fire at the Exeter substation. They only happened on the 11th of May, which we're talking only a couple of days ago. And I didn't really see a huge amount of reports floating about or any media to do that sort of coverage. And that also, of course, caused some power outages for a lot of people. And I'm pretty sure, I believe there was a fire somewhere at the chemical factory. I'm pretty sure it was around the Devon area as well, where people have been told to stay inside. And yet again, that's not really publicized that much. So as you can see, just in that short period of space, okay, there is a lot of things happening. And I understand in a lot of cases they do give you what's somewhat unnatural explanations, but in a lot of cases, causes are still unknown, and they're not hiding in a way of saying, well, actually, we don't know what's happening. But what I can't get my head around, okay, and just bear with me, please, guys. If you follow the channel for a while, you know what I'm getting with this one. So in the less than 6 months, there is hell of a lot of things happened, and a lot of things are constantly happening. And the thing is that even the bits that I just found out that might not be available in the public eye a lot, there will be a lot more of the issues that have happened that have not been disclosed. So to me, when somebody says there have been a lot of undisclosed attacks on your clean water supply, to me that should be alarm bells ringing, because just think about it, okay? Every part of our existence as a nation, it's currently under threat. Okay, we're talking about the electricity, we're talking about the food supply, water supply, pretty much everything in one way or the other. So if you just step back for a second and just comprehend what's currently happening in UK, and then you step back even further and actually have a look what's currently happening around the world. In many European countries and non-European countries, there is hell of a lot of things are currently happening. And yes, guys, I keep telling you, I do not believe in a coincidence, but could you honestly tell me that recently now, okay, all of these things that are happening are all just coincidental? In some respects, some things, yes, could be happening for natural reasons, absolutely. But again, step back another few years. Let's talk the pre-2020 or pre-2019, in fact, which has now seemed to become the historical landmark. So if you go back those few years, I do not recall having that many issues that are currently happening. Yes, of course, guys, contaminated water happen from time to time. Power outages happen all the time, okay? But we're talking about power outages in the villages, in the middle of the cities, that kind of thing. That happens all the time. But sort of the fires that are caused by potentially electrical problems, that kind of thing, that happening fairly regularly, to me just doesn't add up. This is me just being me, guys. My motto is I don't trust anyone and I question everything. And when I see pretty much the crumbling nation, it does make me question. And again, even have a look at the poor Spain that's been battered with the massive power outage that caused the issue, and then they had the storms, and then they had the drought, all of that combined together. That just really, really doesn't make sense. But what does make sense, guys, is for us to understand it in that we do need to prepare. And something tells me, and a lot of you as well, guys, as I said, because many of you now sort of waking up and understanding that it's like, hold on a minute, this is just really, really not right. But the point is, okay, the preparedness is a key. The best we can do is just to prepare for what's coming. And according to many of you, what's coming, it's coming pretty soon and pretty fast. So there we are, guys. Anyway, the point is just keep prepared and keep your wits about, because yeah, things could happen anytime and it could affect all of us, of course. So there we are. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video, find this helpful. Don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye.